the world got smaller, we got separated. The communities are much more spread out now than they ever have been. Even when you go back to the 50s and 60s, and this is where my argument would be, I would say the 50s, 60s, and 70s were much blacker than the 90s. When we're talking about the pride aspect of it, but the more we've been able to travel, the more the community itself has kind of broken apart. So just to answer that question, I know Nas was about to go. I just wanted to chime in on that question.
No, that's perfect. So, Shannon, I wanted to answer your other question about how is it that they get all of these people all around the world to follow suit, right? Follow the game plan. So I'm just going to give a quick example, and again, it's super brief, super overview of Rwanda. Two tribes living fairly peacefully in the same area. They took the ones that looked closest to them, gave them power, gave them prestige, gave them provision, gave them access to resources, and they stripped it away from the other one. So now you have people who look closer to white, who have everything that you want, right? They have the power, they have the women, they have the education, they have everything, right? So what's that going to do? It causes jealousy, it causes civil unrest, it causes a fight for resources because now this group has nothing and they're battling it out. But what gets ingrained in their minds is like, well, the white people had all the power and everything. And then the people who got it after them were the people who look closest to them. So now what do? I want my children to have everything. So I'm going to do my best to make sure that my children look like that so that they have everything. Then that gets watered down where that's just more beautiful. That's just better looking. And then that gets watered down of like, well, how do you not see that this is so generation after generation, what was planted there grows into something so fruitful that you forget what the roots of it are. So you can't pull it from the root. You're just constantly picking the fruit that it's growing, right? You plant trees just about anywhere where there's soil. So that the recipe is the same because there's not much of the world that wasn't colonized. It's the same game plan. They did it in South Africa, they did it in India, they did it in North America, they did it in South America. There's not a place where they haven't done it. They pick the people that look closest to them. They give them everything. Once they want to relinquish their power, they allow those people to find it out, and then it just starts all over again.
So they're just better at strategizing. But they've had more
They did it
practice.
to themselves, right? The Irish weren't considered white until what, after the First World War? They practiced on themselves. They saw how it was done, and they said this works, and they just
Italians also had a issue as well.
Yeah, they
Miss
used to have
Taken,
a term called Nina, no Irish need apply, or no
Mm-hmm.
Italian need apply up north when they was trying to do like union work, like brickland, all that other good stuff. So I was like, bro, Cass is diabolical.
so Miss Taken, can you do me a favor? Can you smile real quick? Just give me a smile. Thank you. Enos, can you do me a favor? There we go. Hey Shan, can you do me one? There we go. Y'all black is beautiful. God dog.
You
I
didn't
just wanted to
tell
go
me.
ahead and
I
say
see it,
that.
baby. I'd be like,
Mm,
honey,
mm, mm,
this brown skin. Why would you want a pale coloring book, baby? I need some color. Okay.
mm. That black is beautiful. I just wanted to
That
say
black
that.
is
I just wanted
beautiful.
to
That
say that.
color, and I mean all of the types of color. Because even white people are not white. It's just diversity is just so beautiful. White is beautiful, brown is beautiful, black is beautiful, all different. You know what I'm saying? Why can't we just all be great together? Why does it
And I
have
just
to be all this?
I just
Oh,
want to make one more quick point to my brothers on the panel. It's nice to share a panel with you, brothers. Strong, smart, intelligent brothers. I do appreciate it every week.
no.
You ever heard of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing?
No.
Sure.
Go ahead, tell me.
So she could kind of answer that. Well, she has a theory on that, right? And it has to do with genetic survival. I'm just gonna recommend you look
In
into.
that case, okay, so if we're talking about genetic survival,
Mhm.
would you not think that Black men are the strongest?
And that's the reason why you would need to do that. So, all right, I'll give you an example. Like this, like we talked about this earlier. It's funny how everything ties in. The dude we was talking about earlier, right? Me and Podcast agreed that he needed to separate himself from the other people by something. So the thing he used was money, because he might not be deemed the most attractive. He might not have the most athletic build. He might not have a whole lot of the other things that other men have that he has to compete with. But he has one thing that he can control, and that is finances. So he's gonna play to that strong suit, and that's essentially doing that at a genetic level. When you can't compete with
They have
another,
more resources.
right? So then you can incentivize that your genes, because regardless of how complicated and convoluted life is, every single cell organism, every organism down to a single cell organism, has one biological imperative, and that's to get your DNA into the next generation. And there are so many different ways people go about it, or things, living creatures go about it, down to peacocking your feathers to stand out, growing bigger antlers, hoarding resources, or just being genetically selected. Humans are unique because we have tools and accessories and things that aid in the assistance of pushing for our evolution. And if I was to be honest, I think it kind of perverts it, because naturally the things that say a woman wants to be with a man who has the genetic makeup that she would like, but he's flat broke, and she has to pick between a man that she does not want and does not think needs to have kids with, but he can provide a life that would be sustainable for the kids in a great way. A lot of times people will pick the thing that's more sustainable for the child, and that right there is, as it perverts the process of natural selection.
So
But
listen, so
we
would it
have,
not be so let's just say, because you have more interracial dating right now, right? And I've always been taught, because I grew up in the 80s, 90s, that a drop of blood is like you Black now. You know what I'm saying? So do you think it'll start that bringing, because more people are interracially dating, you see more of it. So now there are more kids who are well, they don't like to call themselves Black these days, but back in the 90s, they considered themselves Black. But do you think that that'll change a lot? Because it's more
like,
often now than I think it was in the past.
I think that's so. If we talked about this before too, when you look at back to the propaganda, right? People emulate relationships they see on TV. They emulate the things that are advertised to them, because again, most people do not create independent thought on their own. They grab and rationalize the thought that's created for them. They leech onto it, and then they fall in line via. It's like going to a Catholic school when you can get uniforms. So you see what a relationship look like. It's people wishing they have a Blueface and Krishan relationship because it's been advertised to them. It's also people who grew up wishing they had Disney relationships because it's advertised to them. When you implant those ideas, especially specifically things like Disney that are put in your mind before the age of reason, is the age of reason is when you're able to critically think about whatever is going on within life and ask questions. If you get an idea implanted in there, it's very hard to shake that idea. So if you look at the relationship dynamic, interracially speaking, it's going to be a specific way right now that I've noticed, at least, and that's going to be a white man and a Black woman. That's a strong push for that right now. It's a very strong push for that.
I got a question to Marcus. Marcus, how do you grow stronger throughout the night? Like, you start off flat at the beginning of the conversation, and then somehow you finish strong, bro. Like, I'm over here dying. How do you do
It
it?
usually happens after the polygamous conversation comes up, and then he
That
gets
is true. That is true.
he gets re-energized.
That is true. Because we have it every week. You're like, there's a solution for that. Ding. Like,
I ain't hear. I had to run somewhere real fast, but I'm sure it was good because I heard y'all laughing.
My man, podcast look like he on World Series of Poker right now.
He definitely is surfing the internet.
You know, podcast.
Man look like he just bet like 5,000.
Just proving the point. You know me, I'm always proving the point.
You know, I'm
training myself.
I know that there's nothing we can do about, but I just wish that we could just love ourselves enough to not listen to the music that we're listening to and continuously be the entertainment.
That's not what you want.
Unless it's positive entertainment.
That's gonna mean less money.
For your dignity.